Hello, let's go over the Sunset Direct aspect of my resume. Sunset Direct is kind of where I cut my teeth, where I came straight out of college. I was working on the shipping dock at Foley's when a gentleman had come in and bought a stereo. Long story short, that gentleman happened to be Ken Newman, which was the VP of Sunset Direct, VP of Sales at the time, and had offered me a position in their shipping department. Kind of come over and start getting more involved with technology. So I immediately jumped on the opportunity and was in the shipping department for about 6 months. Was really struggling trying to make it through college and working part-time job all at the same time. And so I actually went to Ken Newman and Doug Monahan and told them about the hardship I was having, and told them I was no longer going to be able to stay with the company, that I was going to have to find something else because it just wasn't working out. And Doug told me, he goes, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put you in sales, we'll give you a salary, we'll put you on a salary, and you can work around your college hours, and if that works out, then you can stay. If it doesn't, well, at least we tried. And I said, okay, well, let's try that. Within 6 months of him putting me in sales, I was his #1 sales guy, bringing more numbers than any 5 guys put together, and was capable of going in and learning the products, roles, and what we were selling was an intangible product. So I graduated college and came to work full-time at Sunset Direct as Director of Sales. Directly underneath Ken Newman. Director of New Business Development was my title, but I was working directly under Ken Newman, and what we would do is we would go out to microcomputer manufacturers such as IBM, Microsoft, Intel, AMD, Nokia, just to name a few, Verizon, and what we'd do is we'd offer them a service. What we had done is we had profiled the Fortune 2000, all government entities and all educational entities, and we knew who the buyers were within these facilities. We knew what their budgets were and what their current projects were going to be. And based on that, we could go to companies such as Canon and say, we know these guys are looking at digital cameras. They're going to be integrating digital cameras with their laptops. Progressive Insurance would be a great example. Progressive Insurance is going to be looking at digital cameras to integrate with their laptops. We know that nationally they're going to be responsible for buying 5,000 of these, and right now they're doing evaluations on them. We have direct contact with the end user that's responsible for this whole program. And as a result, Canon would give us, and Progressive would be one of hundreds of individual end users at any given time might be looking at digital cameras. So Canon would pay us a fee, say $250,000. We would guarantee them a 5 times ROI, which would result $1.25 million. So they would pay us a fee of $250,000, and we guarantee them a 5 times ROI. Meaning we would take their product, we would leverage the relationships we had within the Fortune 2000, the government and the educational, and based on those relationships we would seed the market with their product, allow 30 to 90 day evaluations, then we'd do all the follow-up. We'd actually go through the entire sales process all the way up to fulfillment, and then we go back to Canon and say, okay, they're ready to cut a PO for 5,000 individual digital cameras. We did this across hundreds of verticals with hundreds of manufacturers. So Doug Monahan had started the company up in the 90s, in the early 90s, 89, 1990, with $100,000 on credit cards. He sold it for a little over $70 million 10 years later, and we were, during the 1990s, one of the top 10 fastest growing companies in the entire country. It was a great place to be a greenhorn because I was actually the 4th oldest employee at that company. When I left, we were over 700 strong in our Austin office alone. I was capable of coming up through the ranks from shipping all the way up to executive level. Got very involved into all the brainstorming and the aspects behind building a large business, and got just an overwhelming amount of education on how to deal with was a very good gift. How to talk to them, how to profile them, how to read their demeanor and decide which ways to go with it. Sunset Direct offered me an overwhelming amount of education. I was capable of not only was I their top salesman for those 10 years, I was #1 in sales. I closed their largest deal of $2.1 million with Amdahl. Our first check was $750,000, and at the time, that $2.1 million consisted of over 10% of our annual revenue. I was a huge innovator in a lot of the new marketing tactics that we did. We were a strategic database marketing firm, so we had 75,000 completely profiled end users. And part of my goal was to go in and really learn how to mine that data and how to take advantage of the data. So I was a huge innovator in going in and doing the fax blasting. I was a huge innovator in going in and doing the email marketing. We also looked at different ways to cross-market, how to cross-market in different verticals, integrated verticals, things like that. So it was huge. My database skills are untouchable. Some of my accomplishments while I was at Sunset Direct is I was one of their top sales guys. I also was responsible for innovating a lot of the new, what we would do at Sunset Direct is we would go into an open forum brainstorming meeting, which I loved, and all the sales guys would sit down and we would literally lock ourselves into a room and throw things on the wall until we found programs that would stick. At Sunset Direct, everything that we thought of, we would put into motion to see if it worked. If it didn't work, then we'd move on to the next thing. But it was a great experience to go in and really see how these companies work. It's a bunch of people go into a room, they throw stuff on the wall to see if it works, they put it into a program. If they get some bites, they stick with it. If they don't, they move on. So it was a great opportunity. I was able to really get a lot of experience working with guys like